Hortensio's in the above it.
Out with it, you wretched contraption!
So, Max, got any interesting prison stories? Do people really trade cigarettes like bits?
Among other things.
Got any recipes for bathtub hooch? I've always wanted to try the real stuff.
We didn't have bathtubs. We made it in toilets.
Ooh.
Quite the interesting taste.
Sure, they look fancy, but inside, they're just marble and existential emptiness.
The Acropolis district is off limits. Move along.
You could have asked me, you know.
What in the law's name are you on about? Honest mistake. Why don't you come back another time and we can take this from the top?
Something on your mind? Something on... It's like one of those stuffy art galleries. Even the That's what I've been saying.
Did you hear? Marjorie Dalton and ago. So did their marriage, apparently. I'd wager my inverted bathtub she backs out of the contract first.
You must be joking. Our fair city is being overrun by a pox of vagrants and undesirables, and your plan is to sit idly by.
And what would you have me do exactly?
I don't know. Something. Oh, there. That's one right there. Can't you just see the stench of impropriety radiating off of him?
For the last time, access to Byzantium is impossible without a proper nav key. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to be somewhere else. Anywhere else.
This property is off limits. Solicitors, loiterers, and uninvited visitors will be fined to the fullest extent of company policy. This ultimatum brought to you by Universal Defense Logistics. That's funny. The minister isn't expecting visitors, and you don't much look like one of those couriers from HPS. Minister Clark's a private man, and you're asking too many questions.
There's my parents' place. Smell that? Industrial-grade cleaning solvent and desperation.
That's not all I smell. All right, I'm on my way.
Something on your mind?
Marilyn, is that you?
Loss! We certainly didn't expect to see you like this.
And I didn't expect you to renew your marriage contract. But we're all full of surprises today, aren't we? Speaking of surprises, you should meet my new friend. We've been running around the system for a while now, stirring up all sorts of trouble. I don't know what to say. He's usually not like this. Come on, you're supposed to help me make an impression. Anyway, you're probably wondering where I've been all this time.
Not exactly.
The last few years have been a bloody haze. You wouldn't believe the messes we've gotten ourselves into. Right? Are you trying to make me look bad?
Marilyn, this really isn't the best time. Perhaps you should go.
We'll stay as long as we like. And while we're at it, we'll drink your expensive hooch, wear our outside shoes all over your nice floors. Just a second. You had the floors redone with real Terran marble? Since when can you afford that?
That's what we've been trying to tell you, dear, but you must understand, we hadn't heard from you in ages.
We thought you were dead.
I'm not dead. I just never wanted to talk to you again.
I'm afraid the distinction was lost on us, darling.
We only did what any grieving parents in our position would do. We collected on your life insurance policy.
And the payouts have been rather, substantial.
You what? Well, now that I'm here, I guess you'll just have to report back that I'm very much alive and kicking.
It's not that simple. For one thing, we'd have to cut back on so many necessities. The neighbors would be sure to notice.
Why did you do that?
We had to explain your disappearance somehow.
We couldn't very well tell people you'd run off to become a miscreant, could we? Shh! Someone could hear you.
We concocted a story about Celeste Jollycurl designing a pair of 12-inch heels for you.
One of a kind, naturally.
That led to your tragic death when you tripped and broke your neck.
It was quite the story. People were talking about it for weeks.
Couldn't you have at least made up a better story? Something with pirates or raptidons? And what are you gonna do now that we're here?
Yes, about that. We were just about to ask you to, leave.
Quietly, if you don't mind. She hasn't changed a bit, I see.
That's it? You just want us to disappear now?
Marilyn, please.
Don't cause a scene.
Let's just get out of here, Captain. Fine. I'm gone. Forever this time. Captain, got a minute? Can you believe those two? We'd hardly been there a minute and they turned us out like yesterday's garbage. thought they'd be scandalized. They'd both be sitting there watching one of their vapid aetherwave dramas, and then we'd walk in. Mother would drop her mock apple cider, and the glass would shatter all over their overpriced marble. Father would tear off his glasses and blink open-mouthed. I'd have a great one-liner in the tube. I was thinking either, the leather's fake but the scars are real, or, oops, did I just track awesome onto your rug? Yeah, I'm gonna use that one day. Now, getting back to my story. Father would throw his hands up, because this would be just like me, to come back and make a big scene. Then Mother would do the old, "You had us worried sick." Her eyes would be red and she'd have her fist in front of her mouth to stifle a sob. I just didn't want to get booted out of the house I grew up in like that. It's embarrassing, you know. And I've got a reputation to maintain. I'm used to rough situations. Like when someone loads your pistol with blanks and strands you in a Marauder moonbase, or traps you in an airlock with an angry mantis worm. But I want to talk about me now. Unless you mean the kind who'll look out for you to blink so they could swipe your bits. The galaxy's not exactly crawling with those. Anyway, I don't want to sift through this lousy experience for meaningful life lessons. I'm mad, and I want to do something about it. Something like... Wait a second. What if I could get that money? I could open a new account, designate that account holder as a sole beneficiary. All the payouts would go to me. I'll make money without doing a thing. And I'll get to cut them off. As long as I don't develop a taste for wool gonzola and bad legal dramas, that's fine by me. My policy is with the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group. They have an office in Byzantium. Maybe you could use some of your people skills to help me set up a dummy beneficiary account. If that doesn't work, I'm sure we can find one of their terminals and do it ourselves. Something on your mind?
Couldn't help but notice the medical journals in your room. Do you still study medicine?
Nah, I just use them to hold heavy things in place.
Most wise. I was considering throwing away all my old texts, but I like your idea better.
I'll sue every technician and employee who's ever touched this damned device. Don't they know?
Your best find this week. Go.
I wrote someone up for slandering trademark product.
I love Byzantium. Where else are you going to find art, culture, working toilets?
I'm sure other colonies or cities.
Spacer's Choice Tartarus sauce. A tangy sauce made with real atmospheric contaminants from Tartarus. Great on fish sticks. C&P chicken and potatoes. At C&P, we know our C&P. Spacer's Choice pre-sliced bread. It tastes fresh because it was. Spacer's Choice. It's not the best choice, it's the Spacer's Choice. It's not the best choice.
Remember that stranger I saw in the square?
You, with the hips. Over here. Let me take a closer look at you. Don't speak. Hold that posture for a moment while I admire you. You have a natural contrapposto, my dear. The way you rest your weight against your hip suggests a certain rugged charisma possessed only by the mighty primal and the well-traveled spacer. Splendid. I love it. You're not afraid of speaking your mind. You smolder and growl. Oh, you're just too perfect. I'm Celeste Jolicoeur, and you, my dear, are exactly what Byzantium needs. Darling, you and that brutish swagger of yours have been on my mind the moment you stepped into my studio. I'm working on a new line of clothing that will shock this city to its core, and I'd like your help. What do you say, my dear? Care to make history with me? Marvelous! You and I are gonna wake this city up like a cold splash of wine to the face. What I need is a survey of the outside world. What does the common laborer wear? How do the wild-eyed madmen of Monarch dress themselves? I've heard rumors, but I require samples. Also, I expect you to model for me. Oh, you cad! You'll be the talk of Byzantium once I'm done with you. I'll need you to model for me the following: the apparel of an iconoclast, the armor of a marauder, and a full ensemble of spacer gear, helmet included. And when I say spacer gear, I mean an outfit worn by real spacers. None of that garbage Spacer's Choice pedals.
No tall shoes, though. I mean it.
You have the bearing and demeanor of a born model. You're going to absolutely murder this job. I expect you'll cut an exquisite figure. What else do you need to know? I've heard rumors of these iconoclasts. You'll have to find your own way into Monarch. I can't help you. Even if I could, I prefer not to interfere. Fabulous!
I've always loved that sculpture.
It's an orrery.
I guess we're going to Fallbrook.
Didn't I request no more fertilizer shipments be brought on board? Who keeps ordering these? We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain. Stay safe out there.
You'd think folks were pissing in the alleyways as bad as it stinks.
This looks like the place. Ready to get my money or what?
Well, well. Aren't you the very picture of good health and sound decision-making? However, we can't make good decisions all the time. Consider whoopsie-daisy coverage. Please note that to make a claim under this policy, you must describe your error in detail before a panel of relatives over the age of 65. And also note that doing so nullifies the privacy and dignity clause. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one.
Are you serious?
Well, we interviewed the parents extensively. They had plenty of awkward childhood stories that illustrated their daughter's clumsiness and capriciousness.
Hey, those are entirely made up.
Furthermore, the claim spurred a whole line of fashion-related policies. It's become a very lucrative market. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. That's for the best. What can I do for you?
Something on your mind? Can we talk? You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. Being a surgeon out there isn't as great as it seems. At least half your day is paperwork and red tape. No amount of money is worth dealing with that. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Come on, I thought we were celebrating. You want me to think about the future? You talk like someone who likes lists. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you can't even count on a bribe making it into the right pocket. What's the point of planning for anything around here? Hate to say it, but Halcyon's already there. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? I always thought it meant we get used to the smell of each other's dirty socks. But you really do see a rosier version of things, huh? Well, I've got a few years of experience that would suggest differently. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. It's nothing personal. It's just the closest thing I've got to a code. Anyway, enough of the touchy-feelies, huh? Something on your mind?
Here's a little trick I learned in prison.
That was fun!
I'm going.
I'm going. No problem.
I'll take your confession now. We got a fight on our hands. I've had quite enough of you! Nice hit! Everyone all right? Nice one, Captain! Our skills are unrivaled. Oh good, a fight! Subtle work, Captain!
All right. Sure. I'm going.
Jen. I'm the chief engineer on this gunship, and I'd like to let the record show that our captain is a total fucking hullhead. I told him, again and again, that without fixing our regulators, spinning up the engines are going to blow through our coils and we'll go flying off in a completely random direction. Well, here we are. Thinking we'll hit soil in about 30 seconds. This is your chief engineer signing off for what is probably the last time. It's a shame you can't see this middle finger I'm holding up, because I'm doing it as hard as I can.
Yes, you caught me. What's our...
Never anger a man of the cloth! Hardline is working!
Can't get past that armor! That's the last of them.
Here we go! Here's a little trick I learned in prison.
How about that?
This will be over quickly.
That armor!
Ah! Your life was merely an illusion anyway. Muscle will work.
Bigger!
May you find peace in death.
That's the last of them.
Here we go. Don't mess with us. Can't get past that armor.
Just like that.
go! Can't get past that armor! I don't think that's working! I've had quite enough of you!
Anyone else? That was fun. Someone else to clean this up, right?
Have your back, Fate shines on us today. Can't get past that armor.
Try a bigger weapon.
I'll take your confession now!
We're doing this!
Attack! I've had quite enough of you!
Not bad, huh?
This will be over quickly. You're too tough! Try something else!
Just like that.
Never anger a man of the cloth!
I find myself marveling at the complex simplicity of the Fibonacci spiral. I'm sure you know what that's like. Something vexing you, Captain?
May you find peace in death!
Down they go! Try bigger weapons!
I'll take your confession now! Here's a little trick I learned in prison.
Won't try that again.
Try me? Your life was merely an illusion anyway.
How about that?
crazy town. Never change. Something on your mind? I'm a surgeon. Not much else. No complaints here.
The gunship. Have you secured its targeting module? Mount its guns to our walls or the walls of Stellar Bay. The board is coming, Captain, and these weapons will defend us from their blasphemies. I have faith in my people, Captain. The universe does too, else it would not have delivered us this opportunity. All right. The gunship. Have you secured its targeting module? At last. Now we must secure the Stellar Bay landing pad. We will fortify the city against the board's assault.
I'll settle for shooting goons and grabbing loot.
And you, Captain. Are you prepared? No. Our hearts have long since closed to one another. He is blinded by his love for bureaucracy. Time is of the essence, Captain.
Huh? Carry on.
If the Iconoclasts reach that ship first, there won't be any chance for a peaceful monarch. I don't suppose you've found the targeting module yet? I've sent patrols, but they're running into trouble with the Iconoclasts. Well, because the module controls the weapons systems. Because once we mount them on Stellar Bay's walls, no Marauder or Raptidon will ever be a threat to us again. Stellar Bay will be as secure as any other settlement in Halcyon. The boards on Salvage and Recovery Clause 32B would say differently.
And they won't dare challenge us over this. Not after the data you found on their experiments here.
Look, Celia, he's being funny again.
I don't think so, sir.
Really? Well, I could have sworn. What is important is that there's a considerable distance between us and that ship, and most of it is inhabited by marauders and raptors. Do you just think of these things in the moment, or do you write them down and save them for later? They're very good. Oh, I can play along. What I've got here is a town full of yellow-bellied corporate cast-offs who wouldn't know a stun baton from a slide rule. How is that? Wow! Thanks, thank you. Can you imagine what those maniacs would do with weapons like that? They'd wreak havoc.
Or they go and get themselves killed. Then they're not your problem anymore.
The board would consider us complicit in any of their folly. That would only get us ousted again.
And roll back all the progress we've made at reconciling with the rest of Halcyon.
This would be more than a shakeup. Even if they merely sat on the scraps, the threat of a bunch of anarchists holding a gunship would bring the full wrath of the board down on Monarch. We can't afford that.
Threaten the system's order and you call down the wrath of the universe. Or in this case, the board's. Which in this colony is pretty much the same thing.
Ah, you see our quandary then. Good, because we haven't a moment to lose. That's surprising. The board's equipment is usually in top shape. After all, they have first access to any fresh parts or components.
Agreed. This is mysterious, to say the least.
A conspiracy? You've spent too much time around Graham. They're all mad! And what's more, they left us! I don't see any way for us to work together. Not this again.
Remember what we practiced, sir.
Yes. The words in those reviews were very hurtful, but they do not define me. I am a mantipillar, and my will is my cocoon. I can emerge and become what... You too?
He has a point, sir. And it's not all bad.
Supposing you're right, who exactly would you have me work with? The iconoclasts are not the most compromising sorts. Oh, how do these things... Once upon a time, Graham and I saw the same problems with MSI. A rigid corporate structure with no regard for its people. But, where I wanted to reform MSI, he only wanted to take it apart. As if starving in the wilderness is somehow better than starving under corporate mismanagement. He won't hear reason now, and I wouldn't trust him again. That's an interesting suggestion. I confess I don't know much about her except that she worked for Rizzo. I'd be willing to consider it. But I need to see her review first. Very well. I can't promise anything, but let's see what we have here. Well, it seems like she's actually very qualified. I wasn't expecting to say this, but if you can put her in charge and convince her to agree to a meeting, I'd be willing to discuss terms.
Something on your mind, Captain? Too bad. Had I a reliable third party I could trust to set up a meet, maybe I'd consider it. With all the help you've done here, at first I thought it could have been you. But I can't trust you to think logically. Your priorities are skewed a bit too much like Graham's. For all I know, Sanjar's playing you to get to us and you can't see it. So no. In another life, maybe that could have worked out for all of us. In this one, we're going to war. Gonna need to buy myself an entire Rizzo plant after all this.
Any luck bringing the Iconoclast to the bargaining table? I don't like the idea that they'll be trying for that module while we delay. Ooh, that's very good. I wish I could help, but I've never been very good at making... I could work on a brief, if you think it... Excellent! I'll get to it straight away. It'll be a few weeks before it's ready, but one can't put a price on quality work. I don't suppose you've found the targeting module yet. I've sent patrols, but they're running into trouble with the Iconoclasts. Any luck bringing the Iconoclast to the bar? I don't like...
Want to make a run with me to Stella Bay?
Said you docked 3 days ago?
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
Dead center. taken by anybody.
We are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
D&D Borstworth. It's not the worst unless it's Borstworth.
I love Byzantium. Where else are you going to find out?
I can't wait to see those outfits.
If I do somehow drop dead in here, promise me you'll drag my corpse somewhere with monsters.
What can I do for you, darling? If I were an enterprising spacer in need of a wardrobe... I can't wait. What can I do for...